Bitcoin is a form of digital money that was created to work without banks, governments, or central authorities. Unlike traditional currencies such as the dollar or euro, Bitcoin exists only on the internet and is not controlled by any single institution. It was introduced in 2009 by an anonymous creator using the name Satoshi Nakamoto. The main idea behind Bitcoin was to create a financial system where people could send money directly to one another without relying on trusted third parties like banks. This concept was revolutionary because it challenged the traditional financial system that has existed for centuries. To understand Bitcoin easily, imagine money as something that needs rules, so it cannot be copied or spent twice. With physical cash, this problem is solved because you can physically hand money to someone else. With digital money, the problem is harder because digital files can be copied. Bitcoin solves this problem using a technology called blockchain, which acts like a public notebook that records every transaction ever made. This notebook is shared across thousands of computers around the world, making it nearly impossible to cheat or alter. The blockchain works as a chain of blocks, where each block contains a list of recent transactions. When people send Bitcoin to each other, these transactions are grouped together into a block. That block is then added to the existing chain after being verified by the network. Once a block is added, it cannot be changed. This creates a permanent, transparent history of all Bitcoin transactions that anyone can see, but no one can manipulate. Bitcoin does not rely on a central server. Instead, it uses a decentralized network of computers called nodes. These nodes maintain copies of the blockchain and work together to ensure the system remains honest. Because the network is decentralized, there is no single point of failure. Even if some computers go offline, Bitcoin continues to operate. This makes the system more resilient and censorship-resistant compared to traditional banking systems. One of the most important aspects of Bitcoin is mining. Mining is the process by which new Bitcoins are created and transactions are verified. Miners are computers that compete to solve complex mathematical problems. When a miner solves the problem, it earns the right to add a new block to the blockchain and is rewarded with newly created Bitcoin. This process secures the network and ensures that transactions are legitimate. Mining also controls how new Bitcoins enter circulation. Bitcoin has a fixed supply of 21 million coins. This means that no more than 21 million Bitcoins will ever exist. This limited supply is one of the reasons many people compare Bitcoin to gold and call it digital gold. Unlike traditional currencies, which governments can print endlessly, Bitcoin's scarcity is built into its code. This feature is designed to protect Bitcoin from inflation caused by excessive money printing. Traditional money loses value over time because governments can increase the supply whenever they want. Bitcoin was designed as an alternative to this system because its supply is limited and predictable. Many people see Bitcoin as a store of value. Over time, this scarcity has contributed to Bitcoin's price increasing as demand has grown. However, this also makes Bitcoin volatile, meaning its price can rise or fall sharply in short periods. Bitcoin transactions are made using wallets. A Bitcoin wallet does not actually store Bitcoin like a physical wallet stores cash. Instead, it stores private keys, which are secret codes that prove ownership of Bitcoin. Whoever controls the private keys controls the Bitcoin. This is why Bitcoin users are responsible for securing their wallets. If someone loses their private keys, they lose access to their Bitcoin permanently. There are different types of wallets, including mobile wallets, desktop wallets, hardware wallets, and paper wallets. Hardware wallets are considered one of the safest options because they store private keys offline, away from internet threats. While Bitcoin gives users full control over their money, it also places full responsibility on them, unlike banks that can reset passwords or reverse transactions. One of Bitcoin's most powerful features is that transactions are peer. This means people can send money directly to one another without needing permission from a bank or payment processor. Bitcoin transactions can be sent across borders quickly and often with lower fees than traditional international transfers. This makes Bitcoin especially useful in countries with unstable currencies or limited access to banking services. Bitcoin is also permissionless. Anyone with an internet connection can use it. No identification, credit check, or approval is required. This openness has made Bitcoin popular among people who are unbanked or underbanked. It has also sparked debates among governments, as Bitcoin operates outside traditional regulatory frameworks. Security is a key reason Bitcoin has survived for more than a decade. The network is protected by cryptography and economic incentives. To attack Bitcoin, someone would need to control more than half of the network's computing power, which would be extremely expensive and difficult. Even if such an attack occurred, the attacker would have little incentive because it would damage the value of Bitcoin they are trying to control. Bitcoin is often criticized for being used in illegal activities, but studies show that illegal usage makes up a small percentage of overall Bitcoin transactions. In reality, Bitcoin's transparent blockchain makes it easier to track transactions than cash. Law enforcement agencies have successfully used blockchain analysis to trace criminal activity. proving that Bitcoin is not as anonymous as many people believe. Over time, Bitcoin has evolved beyond just a digital currency. Many people now see it as a hedge against inflation, a store of value, and a long-term investment. Institutional investors, public companies, and even governments have started to pay attention to Bitcoin. Some companies hold Bitcoin on their balance sheets, while others accept it as payment. Bitcoin's price history has been filled with dramatic ups and downs. It has experienced multiple boom and bust cycles, often driven by speculation, media attention, and changing market sentiment. Despite these fluctuations, Bitcoin has continued to recover and reach new highs over the long term. This resilience has strengthened belief among supporters that Bitcoin is here to stay. Energy usage is one of the most common criticisms of Bitcoin. Mining consumes a large amount of electricity because of the computational work required. Supporters argue that much of this energy comes from renewable sources and that Bitcoin incentivizes energy innovation. Critics argue that improvements are still needed to reduce environmental impact. This debate continues as Bitcoin adoption grows. Bitcoin has also inspired thousands of other cryptocurrencies, known as altcoins. While many of these projects attempt to improve on Bitcoin's design, Bitcoin remains the most secure, decentralized, and widely recognized cryptocurrency. Its first-mover advantage and strong network effect make it difficult to replace. One important thing to understand is that Bitcoin is not controlled by Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, banks, or governments. Its rules are enforced by code and consensus. Changes to Bitcoin require agreement from the majority of the network, making it extremely difficult for any single group to manipulate the system. This decentralization is what gives Bitcoin its unique power. Bitcoin does not promise quick riches, despite what some social media influencers claim. It is a long-term technological and financial experiment. Those who understand Bitcoin best tend to focus on its fundamentals rather than short-term price movements. Education is crucial for anyone interested in using or investing in Bitcoin. As technology improves, Bitcoin continues to evolve. Second-layer solutions like the Lightning Network are being developed to make transactions faster and cheaper. These improvements aim to make Bitcoin more practical for everyday use, while preserving its security and decentralization. In simple terms, Bitcoin is digital money designed to be secure, decentralized, scarce, and independent of governments. It allows people to control their own money, send value across the world, and participate in a new financial system. While it has risks and challenges, it also represents one of the most significant innovations in the history of money. Bitcoin's future is still being written. Some believe it will become a global reserve asset, while others think it will coexist alongside traditional financial systems. Regardless of the outcome, Bitcoin has already changed how people think about money, trust, and financial freedom. It has proven that an alternative system is possible, and that idea alone has made Bitcoin one of the most important inventions of the 21st century.